Following celebrities on social media is fun because sometimes they drop secrets that we don't know yet, especially now with Marvel movies. So, looks like Vin Diesel dropped some news besides his alleged beef with The Rock.
Yeah,
on the
almost
Fast and
feels like they were
Furious.
like, oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to sweep that under the rug. Here's something better.
Here's some good news to
Yeah.
cover up that other news that we don't want you to look at. Now, the Guardians will be included in Avengers Infinity War, and that's incredibly exciting. He said this during a Facebook Live, by the way. It's
Which is weird.
in the middle. It's buried
20
right
minutes
in. The
in.
middle. Yes. So you got to pay attention if you want these Hollywood tidbits, everyone.
You got to hang out with them.
Yeah.
They expect a lot of, they
So
expect
there's
20
going to be a
minutes.
lot happening in Avengers Infinity War,
Yeah.
including the second part of it having a different title altogether, which I think was a very smart move if we're looking at the final. I mean, this isn't the final Marvel movie, but it's the closing of a chapter.
Right. It's a nice round off of a trilogy for the Avengers. They're not stretching it out. They're not making it like The Hobbit or something like that, where it's like Avengers Infinity War Part 1, 2, and 3.
Well, we
It's like,
have that for like the Hunger Games. The
Games.
last one was split in two.
It just
I think
well, Harry
the
Potter had it.
Divergent one, Harry Potter. It just become kind of a
Calm
trend.
down.
And then
Yeah.
the second of the two usually doesn't perform that well. So they're like, okay,
Smarter
we're
to
going
keep
to
it.
call it something else altogether, and which makes sense to me.
Which is going to be interesting because now you're going to have two full casts from their own movie series crammed into one movie. That better be a long movie.
Well, you say two. I say maybe three. So there's another idea coming from the directors, which are the Russo Brothers, who are known for the two most recent Captain America movies. They will be directing Infinity War, and they have teased something.
Uh-oh.
We have our hands full trying to tell the story we have with our pre-existing characters. That's not to say we're not going to introduce a new character.
Bum,
Who
bum,
could it be? Is it going to be like a Howard the Duck cameo? Is it going to be like
I mean, if he says the word
like a
introduce,
full-fledged introduction?
I think so. But again, it could be like an introduction like Spider-Man, where he's only in the movie for a little while enough
But
to make.
he was a big highlight of that movie.
He was a highlight, but he didn't drive the through line of the movie. You know what I mean? Like he was definitely like a spectacular.
A spectacular
of,
Spider-Man.
hey.
So is that the kind of thing where we just see them enough to get interested?
Yeah.
To
You're
kind of like get our
"What's
hearts
this
going?
guy's story or girls.
Oh,
Or
you know,
girls.
because when we looked at the last Captain America movie, I would say the highlights were Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
And those are
yeah.
the two that are being
Now I
introduced.
want to see their movies.
I want to
right?
see. So maybe we're going that way. There is an idea that this character would be Brie Larson,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. However, she may just be Carol Danvers at
Right,
this point
before
because
she's Captain Marvel.
she's not powered up right away when
Right.
she's introduced. So
It'll
I mean,
be
it makes
interesting because there's going to
sense.
be a lot of draw, right? The introduction to a new character, especially if they announce that it's going to be Captain Marvel. Like, that would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, okay, we're getting another Avengers movie, which in and of itself is its own highlight. And then we're going to see all of those
Guardians.
characters crashing into the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then we're finally going to see two different Marvel universes colliding. Like, we got a taste of it with Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool, but it was one character. Imagine two superhero teams meeting each other and then facing a galactic threat that's been building for like 20 movies already.
There are so many
Oh my God.
characters.
This is crazy.
I mean, if you look at who's in the Avengers now, it's such
Literally?
a huge roster.
My cousin's in the Avengers now. Like their roster's huge.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were being serious. And I was
No,
like,
no.
What? Who's your
No.
cousin?
Everyone's
Which
in the
one?
Avengers. Is what-
No. Yeah, it's a huge roster now, and then we're putting in
Crazy.
this other team of at least 5. Maybe some other peripheral characters from Guardians of the Galaxy will be there. Maybe just the core group.
Gonna be bananas.
And then we have.
And then Thanos to see him in action.
Finally.
Finally.
We know what
That's
we
basically
know,
a new
Or
character.
what Thor knows is he's a big purple guy
Yeah.
who doesn't like standing up.
Yeah.
And that was on
He's
his
got
list.
a bad,
Bad
bad
back.
back. But that's why he needs the gems because they're gonna allow the surgery to take place so he can stand up.
He
It's
could just
crazy.
put it in his back, and then he could do like flips. And
Yeah, it's
gymnastic
deviating a little
moves.
bit from the comics.
Yeah.
That's why he's having the Secret Wars. But I mean, it's fine. It's cool. I'll take it. It's
But this is going to be jam packed. I hope they can.
gonna be insane. I don't
mean,
even know how they're
unless
gonna
they
do
have
this.
like minimal roles for like
Right.
maybe the Guardians will
Right.
just be there for a little bit.
Because like one of the arguments with the new Civil War was there were so many characters. It's like there's so much going on, but now we're doubling that. We're
Civil
quite
War
literally.
was not even the full roster. Like,
No.
we are missing Hulk, we're missing Thor, we're missing all of their peripheral
It
characters.
almost shouldn't have been called Civil War, right?
It was almost an Avengers movie.
It was just Avengers
Just
beat up each other.
More Avengers. Side Avengers.
Side Avengers.
Avengers 2.5. I don't know. It was a lot. I think they handled it pretty well. There were some parts I wasn't crazy about.
Overall, it was fun.
Overall, it was good.
I thought it was fine.
They have a lot on their plate ahead of them now. I hope it's Brie Larson as Captain Marvel because her movie is going to be coming
Also,
a little bit
like,
later. This is 2018, by the way.
Right. Also, her origin story is like definitely one of those.
It's confusing.
It's confusing. Number one, especially if they go with like the Carol Danvers character. But number two, it's one of the lesser known. I mean, I know that Marvel's been going to lesser known characters, but it's even lesser known than the ones that they've recently introduced. Like at least Ant-Man was like part of the Avengers. Like
I think Captain Marvel is more in the spotlight than the Guardians of the Galaxy.
oh, for sure.
But
for
like
sure.
James Gunn handled that
Well, the nice thing about Guardians is they almost didn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you could have literally written any movies, any movie, and called them whatever you wanted to, and it still would have been a fine Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But I feel like with Captain Marvel, there's at least some attachment to the idea, to the icon of Captain Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have to handle that delicately. Where with Guardians, it was like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and there was 5 people who went, "Hey, I read that once when I was a kid." Like that's it. There was no attachment to that brand.
One of them's a raccoon.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I knew him because of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which goes back to my theory that Marvel releases characters in video games years in advance to make the movies popular in the future. Like they start their franchises by embedding them in gamer culture.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance is how I got into
Ultimate
Elektra.
Alliance, dude, Moon Knight got
Yeah.
like a huge highlight in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, that's what made Cable so popular. So I mean, again, like they plant the seeds early on. Oh, I can write a thesis on this one.
Okay.
But Rocket was released because what they did was they made Thor a playable character. They kept Spider-Man. Iron Man was the highlight franchise character, and then they added Rocket Raccoon. And look where all of those characters are now.
Look at them today, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Where were they now? That's interesting. So there's a lot on their plate.
Where are we gonna
Maybe
get
the
Captain Marvel?
peripherals like video games can help.
Captain Marvel video game?
Maybe there will be side projects. I don't know. There's a lot for them to do. So there's a lot of ways to screw this up. There's a lot of ways to make this really awesome.
They can mess it up big too. Yeah.
I think I could think of several ways to screw this up.
Like if they cast Jared Leto as Captain Marvel.
No, or if they put in Billy Batson, aka Shazam, who used to be known as Captain Marvel,
Oh my
who's
goodness
a DC
gracious.
character. That would be a terrible idea, and everyone would get sued. Audience, do you have a better idea that won't get everyone sued? Let us know below in the comments. And please like and subscribe for more.